Former Deputy Prime Minister Sean Richards, whose party withdrew its support for PLP Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris, warned Harris not to use public funds for political campaign purposes. 2 years after the last federal elections in St. Kitts and Nevis, the need for early general elections was precipitated by the impasse between the PAM-CCM faction of 6 withdrawing their support for Dr. Harris, who has only one other elected PLP minister in the cabinet. In a statement made by Richards, the leader of the People's Action Movement blamed Harris for undermining what could have been an outstanding political experiment and for being obsessed with being Prime Minister. But he expressed concern also about the unethical use of public finance for political activities, warning that Harris could be under high scrutiny.
Dr. Harris undermined the greatest concept in the modern politics of St. Kitts and Nevis, that of a united government working in the interest of all. He has betrayed the people by ignoring the promise of accountability, transparency, and good governance in search of a better and brighter future. But the end is near. The voice of the people will be the final arbiter. The nation is waiting to exhale. I know your patience is wearing thin. I am advised that on Tuesday, the outgoing Prime Minister also announced that he had requested of His Excellency the Governor General to have the ministerial appointments of 6 cabinet members revoked. If this were not a serious matter, it would tempt many to laugh. His purported firing of cabinet ministers is amusing, given their principled stand of abstention from the cabinet as a mark of protest against his illegitimate hold on power. Bolting the stable door after the horses fled is an act of utter desperation that highlights his obsession with the office of Prime Minister.
The filing of a motion of no confidence with the Speaker of the National Assembly might have forced Harris to dissolve Parliament early rather than face the motion. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline. It's election time again, and matters surrounding the electoral office are on the minds of political candidates. During a 12th May public meeting of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, party leader Dr. Terence Drew expressed concern about the run-ins of the office.
To say tonight that our electoral office is under threat. Our electoral office is under threat. And that is why I went down there today. And I went in there. And when you see the things that are taking place around there, we can't accept that, comrades. Men come from all parts of the country, say they live in Ojigot. Never see Ojigot in their life. Somebody give them a paper and say, just say you're from Ojigot. Well, their names can't stay on the list. All them names just come off the list. And I want to say to the supervisor of elections, that is St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, that the patriots of St. Kitts and Nevis, we will not accept any shenanigans in the electoral office. And that is why I say, I go in there every day. I want you to come and join me at the electoral office. We're not accepting any shenanigans down there.
According to the electoral laws, there are mechanisms by which voter registrations can be challenged, and it remains to be seen if these mechanisms will be allowed to function correctly. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
When visiting St. Martin, you want clean, affordable accommodations. You need Midtown Motel in the heart of Phillipsburg, a place where you can relax, take a stroll on Great Bay Beach, and that provides you easy access to great shopping. Midtown Motel, located on Front Street, Phillipsburg, St. Martin. Call Midtown Motel at 721-542-0614 and book your stay today.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips. Nestled between evergreen mountains and the Caribbean Sea on the island of St. Kitts is the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center. With breathtaking views, a rugged, beautiful shoreline, and immaculate manicured gardens make this the perfect location for your holiday, event, or wedding. With a large convention center, apartments with balconies providing stunning views, and a secluded cottage for larger family groups or honeymooning couples looking for some privacy. We have something for everyone. Book your stay at www.millhouseskn.com or visit our Facebook page, the Mill House Guest House and Convention Center, an oasis of tranquility.
The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of Cuba proudly celebrated 27 years of diplomatic relations on Monday, May 10th. To mark this historic occasion, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Aviation, in collaboration with the Embassy of Cuba, will be organizing a number of activities over the month of May to strengthen bilateral engagement. According to a press release on the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, SKNIS, both countries enjoy a bond that is premised on shared values and that has produced fruitful cooperation, especially in the areas of health and education. St. Kitts and Nevis has benefited from the deployment of medical practitioners under the Cuban Medical Brigade, while the capacity of St. Kitts and Nevis's medical profession is greatly enhanced as citizens are afforded annual opportunities to pursue tertiary-level studies under the Cuban government scholarship program, the release added. Multilaterally, both countries have supported each other in response to challenges presented by the COVID-19 pandemic. St. Kitts and Nevis was one of several CARICOM states to donate medical supplies to the Cuban government in 2021. Based on the shared history and common culture between the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of Cuba, both countries continue to explore opportunities for continued and increased cooperation. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline. A new real estate company is in town, Diamond Real Estate and Management Limited, Dreams, located in Chadwell. The company held an official opening ceremony on Thursday evening on the office grounds, attended by well-wishers and clients of the proprietor, Velma Merchant. One of these clients, Patricia Walters, the CEO of the cable, spoke highly of Ms. Merchant's services.
So I was passionate about safeguarding my investment. I needed to be confident that I could leave the management administration of my investment in safe hands. The real estate company managing my property, because Abenco, was great. Absolutely no complaints, but it's the little things that sometimes makes the biggest difference. And in this regard, the little things that made the biggest difference was Velma. What can I say about this passionate real estate agent, this hard-working, committed and dedicated lady? Well, I can with confidence say she always kept true to her promises and commitments, always paid attention to my needs, and most importantly made me feel that my requests were a priority to her. Followed up and kept me updated, which was really critical for me being overseas.
Chairman and CEO of TDC Group Limited, Mr. Earl Kelly, is one of Ms. Merchant's first clients, and he also offered endorsements.
It's not easy for somebody to start a business. To start and maintain the business, especially if you're a woman in society. Unfortunately, we still live in a male-dominated society. So it's not always easy for women to go into business and stay in business. And I would like for us to commend Miss Merchant by a warm That's very, very important. That's part of the encouragement. I signed up with as a client. You heard that I was a first client. And even though our business relationship has been short, I found her to be very professional. She's very responsive and yes, very aggressive.
Ms. Merchant, in her comments, said Dreams is her new beginning.
Diamond Real Estate and Management St. Kitts will provide citizens, residents, and investors with property and land sales, property management, and rentals. We cater to students, nationals, and investors who need experienced, reliable, and compassionate real estate administration, assistance, and support. My vision for this new business is for it to expand into the provision of more affordable housing options to help more locals in St. Kitts and Nevis to find rental and investment lands and properties that meets their needs and fits within their budget. I am very happy to be here today. This new business is my testimony of turning your scars into stars.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline. If you're looking for a place to host that special event, conference, meeting, social event, party, whatever the occasion, your best option is the Millhouse Convention Center in Palmetto Point, St. Kitts. Located on the picturesque Garvey's Estate, the Millhouse Guest House Convention Center has enough space for outdoor events overlooking the Caribbean Sea. If you're looking indoors, the center is equipped with amenities needed to make your event a success. And by combining both spaces, you're sure to have a memorable event, no matter the occasion. Call the offices at Millhouse Guest House and Convention Center to book your next event on simply the most beautiful place in St. Kitts. Call 668-1392. Millhouse Convention Center at Garvey's Estate, Palmetto Point, St. Kitts. Making your event memorable. It's the new and improved SKN Newsline Android mobile app. With the SKN Newsline app, you can watch your news reports, the SKN Newsline Newscast, sports, special features, and so much more. You can also send us a WhatsApp or call us directly. Go in the Google Play Store, search SKN Newsline, and download the app today. The SKN Newsline mobile app. News on the go.
An open interactive event can be described as
tremendous, effective,
on par with any conference around the world.
From exhibitions to trade shows, corporate events to product launches, from press events to political functions. We are the secret sauce behind events that make you go, wow. We've staged multiple world-class events in the Caribbean and developed the skill to deliver quality in every detail, whether the event is live or fully virtual, or maybe even somewhere in between. At Open Interactive, we got your events covered. Get your free quotation today at www.madebyopen.com.
The auditorium at the Millennium Heights Medical Complex was the site of a special ceremony to recognize the efforts of nurses at the medical facility on the occasion of International Nurses Day. The past 2 years of the pandemic has proven the invaluable contribution nurses make to any health system.
Today's ceremony was a formal way of establishing the acknowledgement of how hard nurses work and the need to say thank you to the nurses. So if you realize the program was filled with serenades and renditions and poetry and music just to show nurses appreciation. We can't go to every single ward, every single unit, every single wellness center on the island, but it's a way to show nurses as a collective that we appreciate them for their hard work. And as you can see, not every nurse could be here because nurses are working round the clock.
This is the first time the facility is celebrating the day on such a grand scale. With the support from the corporate community, the medical complex from last week held a number of activities to celebrate the health professionals.
On Thursday, the 5th of May, we started off with Midwives Day, where we had an exhibition. The midwives actually showcased from back in time into the future. On the Friday, we had a launch of our various activities, and this week we have had several activities. We had educational sessions. Today we had our ceremony where we really wanted to take the opportunity to recognize our hardworking nurses at Millennium Heights Medical Complex, but also on the island and worldwide. This is celebrated. We continue with our activities throughout the week, where we will be having a fun sports activities next week, and also we will be having a movie night, virtual games, and karaoke session.
The theme for this year's observance is Nurses, a Voice to Lead, Invest in Nursing and Respect Rights to Global Health. Policymakers are being called upon to do more for nurses who are considered the backbone of the health system.
We need to invest. The time has come, and I think COVID-19 showed us that we cannot do without nurses. They are the backbone of health systems. And it is time for our governments, our leaders to understand that you can no longer undervalue and underfund nursing. So we need them to come together and to invest in nurses, because nursing touches everyone in the country, in the world. And so we call on our leaders to play that pivotal role in investing in nurses. And our nurses, today I want to say to them, you are heroes, because you have worked hard. For the last 2 years, you gave your all. Your lives were at risk, but you did it. And I want to say to us that we are loved and appreciated. And I want to say to all nurses, take your rightful stand, because our stand is at the table.
Health Minister Moses Jean-Baptiste has indicated that the ministry will this year conduct a review of the nursing situation in St. Lucia and also develop a strategic plan to address the growing challenges in education, practice, service delivery, employment and workforce planning.
The ongoing COVID-19 pandemic continues to test the resolve of our nurses, and they have performed admirably and with tenacity. We have a shortage of nurses in St. Lucia and in the region. Our highly qualified nurses are in great demand overseas, and we will work with our nurses to encourage them to remain in St. Lucia. We will also take appropriate actions which will hopefully entice more St. Lucians to choose nursing as a profession.
The Minister for Health has applauded nurses for their unwavering commitment, professionalism, compassion and dedication to the nursing profession and to the health and well-being of our people. For the DBS News World, I am Zane Romulus.
The Pride Festival, facilitated by the Guyana LGBTQ Coalition, which comprises the Guyana Rainbow Foundation, GAIBO, Guyana Trans United, GTU, and Society Against Sexual Orientation Discrimination, SASA Guyana, will be celebrated this year under the theme, Our Bodies, Our Lives, Our Rights, in keeping with the International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, and Biphobia, Ida Hudby. Managing Director of SASA, Joel Simpson, explained to Nightly News that this year's festival will focus on the current laws, which criminalize same-sex intimacy, laws which he described as colonial in nature, archaic, and inherited. He shared that as part of the festival's advocacy plans, there will be various opportunities during the course of the activities, and there will be discussions around the impacts of the criminalization of sexual rights and how they particularly impact the LGBTIQ people in Guyana.
Because we want our advocacy this year to focus on sexual rights, and we're particularly calling for the decriminalization of same-sex intimacy between consenting adult men in private.
The director also revealed that the coalition has also received full support for the festival from the British High Commissioner to Guyana, Jane Miller, who hosted a launch at her residence on Wednesday.
Where she said, and I quote, that the laws were wrong then and that they're wrong now, and that we need to move beyond these laws as a free and independent country.
SASA's Pride Festival will kick off on June 19 with a virtual interfaith forum hosted in collaboration with the Caribbean Interfaith Network, an open mic, movie night, games night, tea party and hot show, Draft Fest and a Pride Symposium are all part of the activities to be hosted during the packed 7 days of events. Finally, Pride 2022 will conclude on Saturday, July 16, 2022, with two of the most anticipated events, Pride Parade 2022 and the Pride Party. Simpson highlighted that for years, the organization has been lobbying to end discrimination based on sexuality, and the event is a celebration which will showcase the LGBT community and its intention to stand strong and not cower in the face of stigma, discrimination, and prejudice. He added that the community is championing One Guyana initiative, reminding that they are also an integral part of the Guyanese society.
I think it's very important for the community to show that we can celebrate ourselves. It promotes self-empowerment and it helps to build confidence among individuals and for people as a community.
Reporting for the AGP Nightly News, Joel Vogt.
North Korea has reported its first death from COVID-19. The news comes a day after the country acknowledged an outbreak of the virus for the first time in this worldwide crisis, ordering a lockdown. The state media says 6 people have died from a fever that's been spreading fast nationwide. It's confirmed one of them had tested positive for the coronavirus Omicron variant. It's also released this photo of leader Kim Jong-un at the Emergency Epidemic Prevention Headquarters. The country had previously claimed to have had 0 infections during the pandemic. It's refused international help with vaccinations and has kept its borders closed. Well, I'm joined by correspondent Josh Smith in Seoul, South Korea. Not so far from this very secretive nation, but tell us a bit more about what's going on or what you can tell us, considering that officially, COVID is now starting to take its toll in North Korea, about 2.5 years into this pandemic.
That's right. It is quite a startling admission by the government there. There had long been suspicions that that it was unlikely that North Korea would entirely escape this global pandemic, and now we have the first official confirmation from the government that there are indeed cases there. As you mentioned, though, even the death numbers that they've released so far do show the amount of confusion over exactly what's going on there. This kind of unknown fever that they say has infected at least 350,000 people so far just in recent weeks, but they haven't released total COVID case numbers. And experts we talked to said that shows perhaps a weakness in their capabilities and able to test the sheer number of people with symptoms there right now. And so I think going forward, there's going to continue to be questions over not only the numbers, but also their capability in being able to help people and prevent widespread deaths.
Josh, just how bad do you think this outbreak could get, considering such a poor healthcare system, no vaccines, and sanctions on top of that?
So North Korea has a relatively high number of educated doctors and staff and a healthcare system that, given its authoritarian nature of the government, can be very quickly mobilized and deployed around the country. However, they have chronic shortages of supplies, medicines, equipment, all of that, which is why experts say that it's so critical that they do open their doors to some aid. Now, in recent months, there has been a trickle of aid, we understand, that's come in from some international organizations there, going through that very tight border lockdown that you mentioned before. However, there's been no sign of vaccines, which have been key to keeping at least the death rates lower around the world and are seen as key to allowing North Korea to eventually open up and protect its already battered economy.
Do you think North Korea will eventually have to open up and, in effect, open itself to outside scrutiny?
There are some observers who looked at this kind of rather unprecedented state media coverage of this first outbreak as a possible sign that North Korea is moving towards that they're getting ready to potentially accept some of this aid. They've already opened their borders slightly relative to what they had before. Again, in an apparent acknowledgement that they do need to ease some of the controls that they have had there. And so there is an optimistic view that hopefully they are now, with the scale of this spread, going to open up to some of that aid that will allow them to live with COVID as the rest of the world is.
Journalist Josh Smith in Seoul, South Korea. Thank you very much.
Davis Construction Large Patriots demolished the depleted Molineux FC on Thursday evening at the Warner Park in the SKNFA Division 1 action. 17 goals to 1. Molineux started the match with only 7 players and held down for the first half as best as they could, going down only 4-1 by half-time. Goal scorers for Lodge, Kimbo Romney in the 10th minute. Alex Saunders scoring a hat-trick in the 24th, 56th and 69th minutes. Nazim Huggins scoring twice in the 39th and 58th minutes. Jamalvis Rollins scoring a hat-trick as well in the 41st, 49th and 64th minutes. Zaire Morton scoring twice in the 60th and 72nd minutes. Wendell Nanton scoring 2 goals in the 66th and 81st minutes. Steve Campbell scoring a hat-trick in the 79th, 85th and 86th minutes. And Calvert Shiverton in the 90th minute. The lone goal for Molineux came from Ethan Green in the 32nd minute. That match was quickly followed by Rivers of Living Water versus Newton Ground. Rivers having a field day with Newton Ground, 7-0. Cadney Hobson scoring the 4th minute, Jamari Williams in the 42nd minute, Khalif Nisbet scoring a hat-trick in the 53rd, 76th and 89th minutes, Leroy Stevens in the 69th minute, and Jermaine Pemberton in the 88th minute. Ricky Tyson, a player with Rivers, said ball movement was key to their victory.
Togetherness, passing around the ball, moving around the ball. You know, the guys ain't had much football playing, so we had to move around the ball, let the ball do the work and not doing so much running. And that worked for us today. Well, we just have to work on it, you know, one game at a time. There's some room for us to reach in the playoff, but we just have to work on it one game at a time. Try to get the win, and, you know, hopefully we get into the 4.
Coach of Newton Ground, Kevin Gerald, said more work needs to be done in the team's defense.
Well, the back 4, we got to work some more in the back 4, tactically. And dead balls and set pieces, corner kicks, defending.
Division 1 continues on Tuesday with matches at the Kim Collins Stadium. The first SKN Athletics Rams Relay Primary School Championships will be held this Sunday at the Kim Collins Stadium. At a press conference on Friday, President of SKN Athletics, Delwyn Delaney, gave some insight into Sunday's meet, which will start at 1:30 p.m.
600 athletes participating with a non-stop action. I made reference to, oftentimes we hear spectators stating that they can't wait until the relays start, or they can't wait till it's relay time. Well, for a whole afternoon, an entire afternoon, we have non-stop relay action from the under 9 categories up to the under 13. I won't get too much into detail as it relates to the meet itself, because I leave that for the game secretary, but I just want to say, come on out this Sunday. Tickets are going extremely fast, and both on the Nevis end and the St. Kitts end, there are just a handful left as it relates to the Kim Collins Stadium. But don't fear, you can pay and enter on the day. You can $5 for children under 12, $15 for anywhere on the grounds.
The competition has 2 major corporate sponsors, Rams Trading Limited and First Federal Credit Union. Representatives of both sponsors were present at Friday's press conference.
Rams has been on board with this since 1935, and we continue to stay committed to this primary school meet. Well done on getting it organized and sorted in such a short period of time. 600 athletes, truly commendable. Really looking forward to Sunday.
My name is Ms. O'Loughlin. I'm from the First Federal Credit Union, and we are so excited to sponsor the first ever Rams Primary School Relay Championship. This sponsorship comes at a time where I believe people were highly anticipating a sports season coming out of our lockdowns. So we're excited to be outside again with you, and I'm encouraging the general public to come out and support the children. We are happy to support children as well as the general overall strategic agenda for athletics in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boone. Here is a look at the 4-day forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.